X is the 10th installment in the Fast Saga and the 11th overall movie in the Fast and Furious franchise. In this movie, Jason Momoa plays the son of the drug lord that the Fast and Furious crew defeated in Fast 5. He's now out for revenge for his father, so he's going after Dom and the rest of his Fast and Furious family. As part of his revenge, he's causing a bunch of havoc, and now Dom and the fam, they gotta go take this guy down. The Fast and Furious franchise, it kind of started out with like the first 4 movies. It's just very standard, just street racing movies. You know, cool cars, hot chicks, thrilling chase scenes. That was basically all you really needed to get on board with the franchise. And then by the time we got to Fast 5, they decided to take all the characters from the previous 4 movies, bring them together, and basically turn this franchise into a more heist action kind of movie franchise. And since that switch up in the tempo, with each action movie we've been getting in this franchise, it's all been getting a little bit more absurd. Starts to the point where you can roll with it because it's fun, it's entertaining, and then it just keeps going, and it keeps getting ridiculous, and then we reached F9 a couple years back, and that was the point where I just completely lost it. I was like, this is ridiculous, this is dumb, this is stupid, and I'm not even entertained by it anymore. So by that point, I was pretty much ready for this franchise to be dead. But these franchises make a lot of money, people love them, they got a big fan base, so because of that, we obviously got another movie. So I went into Fast X with really no expectations. I mean, after F9, I was like, well, let's just see what happens. And how is Fast X? Well, it's better than F9, I'll give it that. But it's still not without its flaws either. Let me get into what is, I think, easily the best part of this movie. Jason Momoa, I thought, played a sweet villain. I mean, this guy is crazy. He is out of his mind. He is clearly an unhinged human being. I mean, the shit he says, the way he acts, the lives he's willing to put in danger for his revenge. A lot of people compare him to the Joker, and I could see why. He has kind of that psycho mentality, wants the world to burn sort of mission in his goal in taking down the Fast and Furious crew. But at the same time, he was also really funny, and he was out there, and he was crazy enough that it made you interested in him as a character and as a villain. It really worked, and I walked away from it saying he was probably one of the better Fast and Furious villains we've gotten. Also, yeah, everything you pretty much know this movie's good for is, for the most part, good for. I mean, the car chase scenes, those are very entertaining. The action when it goes down, for the most part, it is entertaining. But getting into the flaws that are in this movie, okay, I think we've reached a point where this Fast and Furious crew is just gotten a little too big. It's because we have all these characters, you have to give screen time to all these different characters. And it's not like they're all together on the same mission. They're all basically going off on different parts of the world or wherever to accomplish certain parts of the same mission. So at one point you're focused on Dom and what he's doing, and another point you're focused on, you know, another part of the crew. Another point you're focused on this part of the crew. Kind of goes a little bit all over the place because it's all seemingly a little bit disconnected from each other. It makes the movie feel jarring. It makes the movie feel out of focus and kind of all over the place at times. Also, getting to what I mentioned earlier, this movie, although not as bad as F9, is still filled with a bunch of illogic and ridiculousness. I mean, forget the scene you see in the trailer where Dom just, you know, accelerates a car and he takes out 2 helicopters with his fucking Mustang. And there's a scene in this movie, this big giant ball bomb is just moving its way through the city, and, you know, the team has to take it out to prevent casualties. So of course the Fast and Furious crew have to get the bomb away from people so it can detonate safely, and of course they're able to pull it off. But at the same time, no one on the crew gets hurt, no real innocent people die. And just how they're able to pull it off, I mean, you don't buy it. It would never ever happen that way in real life. Ever. I mean, not that something like this would ever happen in real life anyway, but if it did, you highly doubt what they did would ever stop it. That's just kind of what it is at this point. You're still going to be rolling your eyes, you're going to be shaking your head, you're kind of going to be laughing at it throughout the movie, but you know, if it's something you can roll with, you'll be able to get behind it. I guess because in this movie it didn't stretch the absurdity as much as it has in previous movies in the franchise, I was able to just roll with it a little more than I would have. But also, yeah, I gotta get into another problem I have with this movie. Why doesn't anyone die in these? I mean, honestly, these guys have been through so much. I mean, cars are exploding, they're taking out bombs and tanks and planes and submarines, and yet all of them come away totally fine. And because of that, it may not necessarily take the fun out of the action scenes, but it does take a whole lot of the thrills out of an action scene. And that's because in this franchise, because nobody dies, because everybody just gets out of everything unscathed somehow, when a supposedly really intense action scene is going down, someone's life looks like they're in danger, I mean, you don't really buy into it. You're not really feeling as anxious, you're not really on the edge of your seat, because in the back of your head, you're thinking it's like, wait a minute, this franchise never kills anyone, so unless I see a dead body, chances are this person's gonna live through it. I know, it just makes sense. I mean, we've been on this road for 10, technically 11 movies. It would probably hit the audience a lot more if someone died. Like, we're told in all these movies how much of a family this team has become. It's like, make it feel like more of a family. Make it feel like they're actually grieving and going through loss when someone dies. I mean, we haven't really seen a whole lot of an emotional depth in these Fast and Furious movies since Furious 7, and that wasn't even because a character died, it's because the actor who played the character had died mid-production, so they had to give the character a send-off. I would love to see more of that vibe brought into these movies for an actual character that has been lost in the story. I mean, families, they go through hardships, they go through tough times, but they also go through loss, so if this family went through some loss, you'd be able to get behind them a lot more. It would make it feel a lot more relatable. Not relatable in, like, you know, you're driving really fast cars, or you're going through intense action scenes, you're robbing drug lords. I mean, if you are doing that, hey, it sounds fun. But I'm willing to bet the general public probably thinks to themselves, no, we haven't been through all that, but we've definitely been through loss. I don't know, for me it would make the action a lot more intense, it would make everything a lot more thrilling, and would hit me a lot more emotionally. It would take that extra step that would get us to feel something that, frankly, these movies have been lacking for quite a while now. I will say this much though, the movie does end on a complete and total cliffhanger. I mean, we've been told that this is supposed to be part 1 of 2 movies, or I guess now 3 movies. I don't know. However many more movies we're gonna get, the movie does end on a complete and total cliffhanger. So I will give it that. You don't know really where the characters are at, you don't know what's about to happen, it's just total cliffhanger. And I will say this much, if you're a diehard Fast and Furious fan, you're probably psyched out of your mind for the next one. Me personally, I'm not quite at that point. I mean, admittedly, I had said after F9, let's end the franchise, let's just stop now, but I'll say this much, I guess at this point, just let the franchise continue. At least let them get to their 12th or 13th movie, and then we'll just stop there. Because I will say, the cliffhanger ending, it has me curious to see what they're gonna do next, but I'm not like amped for it or anything like that. To paraphrase a great line from a great movie, it has my curiosity, but it doesn't yet have my attention. So all in all, Fast X, it is what it is. Jason Momoa played a great villain. The cast, I will give this much about the cast, they still seem into this franchise and their roles. I mean, they look like they're having fun. The scenes with the car are entertaining, the actions, for the most part, entertaining. Still a bunch of illogic and ridiculousness that you are either gonna be able to roll with or you just won't be able to roll with. I really wish there was a much bigger sense of danger in these movies. I wish when characters' lives were at risk, like they're supposed to be, they actually were, but they never are. And look, at the end of the day, it's like this. If you love the Fast and Furious franchise, you'll love this movie. If you've never ever been on board with the Fast and Furious franchise, you're not gonna be on board with this movie. This movie's not gonna change your mind in the slightest. As for me, as someone who feels kind of in the middle of this franchise, particularly with how it's been going on since Furious 7, I would say I feel somewhere in the middle about this movie. Guess that's the best way I could sum it up for you guys. So that's all I'm gonna say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.